There we go. Hello, I'm Shim. I'm Shim So Creative, and this is the fourth live for the Bespoke Blazer project. Today, we're supposed to be talking about hand stitching. I'm still waiting on Auntie Carol to join us. So we'll see if she shows up. I haven't gotten a message from her yet. So hopefully she pops in soon. But while we wait, I am actually working on deconstructing a blazer. Yeah, because sometimes that happens. Hey, Saps. Hey, girl. Hey, I am just waiting on Auntie Carol. While I wait, hey, Eve. I'm deconstructing part of this jacket. I'm taking out the welt pocket because I don't like it. And then it had side pockets. So I'm taking out the side pockets too. So there's just no pockets. So it looks more plain, but it looks more clean to me. But anyways, how are you guys doing? How are you doing with your muslins? How's it going? Let me see. Get some music while we wait. Hopefully, Auntie Carol not asleep because she was up late working on a shirt last night on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And so you better get some rest. So we'll see. Um, you looking for your fabric? What color are you trying to do? Okay. It's a little music. Hey, Julian. Tell me about the day. How we get an ad already? Yep, that's much. Hey, Risha. You want a solid pink? Oh, okay. Like, you want satin or you looking for crepe, garbadine? So I'm waiting on Auntie Carol, y'all. Hopefully she not asleep. Hopefully she not asleep. And I'm taking apart my jacket while I wait. But I didn't want to keep y'all waiting, because I know last time people were confused because we had to cancel it and people were waiting in the live. So I didn't want to keep y'all waiting while I wait. Hey, Latoya. Has anybody started cutting out their fabric? Oh, so she can help you do your sway back? Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I haven't cut my fabric out yet. I'm a bit behind. And this is the jacket I'm supposed to do for, Fabric Mart. And that was due Friday. And as you can see, she's still in pieces. So, but I do have a sleeve ready. I got another one too. It's not much to do, but I'm taking this part. I'm taking the pockets off. I don't like it. Hey, Miss Zena, you haven't cut yours either. Okay, we're all in this together. Oh, hey, Renita. Okay, well, Auntie Carol is late, so look, if she don't pop up in like 10 minutes, you working on finalizing your sleeve? Okay. If she don't show up in like 10 minutes and nobody got any questions, I'm gonna shut this down. That I think she's asleep because she was up real late. Technically, we not behind, but technically, I'm behind for my own self because I didn't want this to linger for 2 or 3 years. I want to get this done by the end of the year, preferably by Christmas. But at the rate I'm going, child, it's definitely giving January, February. But I'm gonna try to finish up all these projects and then I'm almost done. I got this, which I'm finishing this today. The pink dress that we was working on the other day, it just needs buttons. I got a hand stitch to hem. And I think I want to add some more trim. That's minor. And then the first version of the jacket for the blazer project. I still haven't put the arms on it. You ahead. You already cut your fabric out, Miss Zena. She was up like late last night. That's what I'm saying. I think she's asleep. Cause it's only like 11 a.m. her time. You want to be done by Christmas too? I think Christmas is a good marker. It's like, all right, so we started this when August? No, either late August or September. We started this, so yeah. Start seeing it ready for the pockets in that canvas fabric. Okay, gotcha. Did you already do all your tailor tacks too? Once I get my fabric cut out, I'm gonna do my tailor tacks. Is anybody sewing today? Anybody doing Sunday service? Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. If you haven't already, make sure you like the live. Oh, you are sewing, Amber? What you making? You making the pants, the sassy sweatsuit to wear to the basketball game tonight. Oh, okay. Is that what they're doing on live today? The pants? Oh, okay, Kate. I'm here for a cape of the blazer sleeve. Oh, okay. Hey, Shishi. Girl, where's your mother? Where's your mother? Okay. She's supposed to be teaching us how to hand stitch. Where's she at?
Actors, we have the power to convince the world we know what we're doing.
Where's she at, Shishi? Where's she at? I know y'all don't want to see me unpicking this. I know that's not what you came here for. Are you not entertained? Oh, okay. I know they did something on Friday, but I was out Friday frolicking, so I didn't get to watch what they were working on. It's a great pattern. Are you gonna post it for Sawyer View? Okay, so they already did the pants. Sorry. Yeah, they already did the pants. Okay. Look, Sabs be knowing. Sabs low key the historian. Okay. You didn't get picked for Minerva. I saw who they picked. That's okay. You still got time. Be consistent. Keep going. Keep going. And post more colors. You sew a lot of black. They like colors and prints. All of that. They'll do it again in a few more months. Probably in the spring, they'll do it again. Be ready. Be ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Okay, here's our music is back. On them ads. You try to watch everybody's live streams. You know what, Sam's? We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So at 3 p.m., there's this girl. She makes these rings out of porcelain. She's in the UK, and her drop is tonight at 8 p.m. their time. So 3 p.m. this time. So at 3 p.m., I will be on my phone trying to get a ring or something. We'll see. Y'all wish me luck. Yeah, you do a lot of black, and you always very serious. Like, you gotta smile, be happy, go outside, cheese. Okay, don't throw up the peace sign, but you know, a little bit more like, I'm having fun. Look at me twirl around. Like, they like happy faces and happy colors. You be out there voguing. That's my 2 cents. More colors and more happiness in the pictures, even if it's fake. I always fake laugh or fake twirl, whatever. Don't always feel like doing it. Just do it. you be giving them sexy. Give them, you know. If you're gonna do sexy, then you gotta do like a little grin, like, you know what I mean. You gotta be a little bit more playful. You got sick. Ugh. I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, just post as you go. I try to go on there once a month or so and update. Unless I have a Minerva make, then I'll do it. But I just go in there and I'll just post a couple when I think about it. And then I just let ChatGPT make my captions. I say, because we have to have 500 words. Something like, can you make me a caption for Minerva? 500 words. This is the fabric. This is what I made. I really love that it was drapey and it was so soft and easy to work with. Can you also mention that? Da, 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 and then it just spits out the caption for me. So, done. I don't even have to think about it. So you don't think about it either. Let chat work for you. I mean, it's polluting the ocean, but such is life. Such is life. Hey, Anna J. Okay. Where we at on time? 12:17. Let me check my text. All right. We'll give it 5 more minutes and then. That's what you do for your YouTube video? Yeah, me too. Do it for everything. I'm about to do it for this blog post too. which is funny because I have only been mostly doing this jacket on live, so there's not like pictures and stuff that I was really taking along the way. So I'm up here like taking pictures of the sleeve and stuff. It's very trailer park. But oh well. It is what it is. All right, got the flap off. And I just need to get this little welt piece out. So I don't know what this blog gonna be. And then they asked me if I want to blog next year. I was like, I didn't say no, but I wanted to say no. I said yes with fewer blogs. This year I had to do 6 blogs. I said I can do 3. If that works. If it don't work, don't worry about it. I can't. I gotta get these Burnett blogs going. And all these Minerva blogs out. I got like 5 Minerva fabrics. There's one in the mail somewhere. There's one I got like a week or 2 ago. There's 2 hanging because I use a lining. And then there's 2 in there too. So yeah, I got a lot of Minerva projects I need to work through. I just can't do everybody's projects. So I said I'll give y'all 3 blogs. So I'm wondering if they're gonna open it up and ask for more fabricistas this year. If they do, if I see it, then I'll repost it so people who are interested can do it. Oh, okay. Let me sew the pocket. Hold back up. Let me see. I do it for my live streams ahead of time, so when I finish the stream, all I have to do is cut and paste. Yeah, I do that too when I'm doing good. When I'm doing good. When I'm not doing good, I have to do it later. I need to sew this down because the flap is gonna go on top of this. Okay. Hey, RV. Guys, I'm really sorry that I have you here without Auntie Carol. Okay. What am I doing? Oh, I'm going this way. Yeah. Oh, she's telling text me big. Okay. I'm going to stitch it to right here.
Like all the best stories, this one starts new.
Hey, Shells, look at you from the UK. What a surprise. We're supposed to be working on our blazer hand stitching. Sorry, those that just got here. My counterpart is MIA, and I don't know how to teach you how to hand stitch, so I'm kind of like the sous chef, you know what I mean? I'm a sous chef. The head chef is not here.
Maybe today I'll be a hot person.
An upcoming pattern? Okay.
Delightfully bold.
Like one that's about to be released or one that you're about to sew? You getting some work done? Okay. Cool beans. Maybe she can like pre-record it or something and just post it on YouTube. Don't know if she has time for pre-record, but I'm getting stuff done too because I needed to finish this jacket. I've been putting it off for. Just didn't feel like it. You know how you just be like, ugh, I really want to make some barrel pants, and I want to make a pleated skirt to go around it, but like an attachment, and I want it to be like asymmetrical. And I want that to go with my jacket that is over there. I want the pants and the skirt to go with that. But I don't have time for that. That's what I really want to do. Oh. One that I'm about to sew. Oh. Okay. Record what? That's what I want to do. And I thought, thank you, RV. I thought I had, oh, you bought it. Which pattern did you get, NJ? Because I was just about to say, I thought I had a barrel pant pattern. I had Brandon's pattern. I don't know what Brandon's pattern is. But I pulled it out. It's his, I think it was his last Know Me pattern. He had like a vest and some pants, which kind of looked like barrel pants. That's what I thought. And maybe they are technically barrel pants, but they are just like pegged at the ankle. So I was like, oh, this isn't what I'm looking for. I wanted a curved pant. I didn't want a pegged pant. So I put that away because I thought I had one. So I was like, I could probably just do this real quick, procrastination. No. So, which pattern did you get, Anna J? So that's that. So what I said was I'm probably just going to take a pant pattern and make my own barrel leg pants. I saw Vicky So's had one actually on the Russian site. But last time I was on Vicky So's, my account didn't have anything in it. So I know they're still kind of like migrating. So I was like, I'm not going to buy anything from them until everything is restored. And it was like on the American site, every time I click on a pattern for details, it just went to like a 404 error page. So I was like, I'm going to just wait. But I did see that they had a barrel pant pattern on there. I was like, this could work. So I figured I just take a pant pattern, keep the inside straight, maybe slight curve, and then curve out the outside and then bring it in. That's what I figured I would do. I know some people put like little darts and stuff at the kneecap. I could put a dart in kneecap. It's not a problem. You panicked? Don't panic. It's not finished. I think they have made a post saying that it's coming, but I won't be buying anything until I see my patterns back in there. But I saw one on the Russian site. I was like, okay. The Russian site seems to be like good to go. But the American site, to me, when I was on there, that was a few days ago, seemed a little bit like it was still trying to work itself out. Anybody get anything from the Simplicity sale? Y'all know they got the patterns $3.99 to $7.99. The Vogues are $7.99. I just want the Vogue pattern with the little skirt front in front of the pants. But I don't want to pay shipping, so I asked Deja, was she going to order any, or Keisha? Keisha said she wasn't ordering nothing. Deja said she might, so I'll check back because tomorrow I think is the last day. So if she orders something, then I'll be like, throw my pattern in there with yours. I can get free shipping. Otherwise, it'll have to wait. Anybody find anything they want? Anybody See anything in the butterick drop that they wanted? I was not impressed myself. I'm gonna sew this. I'll be back. Right. If you can't remember it, then that means you don't need it. Precisely. Yeah, I can't lie. I haven't been impressed with the last few drops from any of them. Okay. Now we have this. I'm going to add my thing back on here, my flap. Well, since we are here, I can give like one little tip that I like. So if you're doing if you're doing a sleeve that does not have a placket,
for the holidays.
then an easy way to attach your lining
At least you can get a feel on new
is
shorts
take
for
your
dinner.
2 pieces, put one inside out,
Coverage.
the other one right side out. So this is the right side. And you stick it inside.
You'll give your all. We know your hands are full. I got you. With Graco, you can do the things
Match
you
up your
love.
seams.
Go adventure. Go for a drive to grandma's house.
And then stitch around. So one thing you want to make sure the lining is shorter. I cut my lining an inch.
Soothe them.
I cut my lining an inch shorter. Should be with a peeking shear, but it's not. Mind your business. And then you stitch them together. So right sides together. Stitch them together, right sides together at whatever. I think I did a 3/8 inch, but you need to do the math for your hem. And then you get something that looks like this. You can go inside, pull it through, and look at that. You get a nice clean sleeve. If it's cut shorter, it should automatically have a facing. And I already started doing my double stitches for easing, but you can see that they're here. And you get a nice clean finish without having to do all of that extra hand stitching. And then you'll just put this one in first, like that. And then if you're savvy, you can go around and you could machine stitch the lining on there. There might be a little section where you have to hand stitch it, or you can hand stitch the whole thing. I think for this project, we're actually going to hand stitch in our sleeve linings. But if you're doing a fast tailoring like I am for this jacket, this is like a really easy method. You can also do it when it's flat. So before you even sew it together, I don't have a flat sleeve, but you can sew them together, right sides together when they're flat, and then fold it long ways like hot dog, how it was. Let's see if I can turn this. And then sew it like that. So you sew it this seam first, and then you sew one long seam that way. Same thing. So you could do it before you even put them together. So anyways, easy peasy lemon squeezies. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna put my flap in. Where is my flap? There it goes. You got the Arthur pants. I feel like I heard of them. Good tip. Thanks, RV. Thank you, thank you. All right. Well, you guys let me know. Auntie Carol, she's not coming. It's 12:30. She's not coming. Y'all let me know if y'all want me to stay up here for a little bit or no. My feelings will not be hurt at all. Okay. So this thing picked up all the trash. Stay. All right. Okay. I'll be here just for you, Saps. Just for you. Let me stitch that down. Actually, let me stitch this first and then I can stitch. Okay. Let's go in here. This is the front. I'm gonna have to like cancel that and just yes, Miss RV. We should be cutting if your muslin is good to go, your pattern has been adjusted, then you should be cutting your main fashion fabric. I feel like I'm yelling. What fabric base is best for lining blazers? I know you said before about browsing, whatever, and I forgot. Okay, yeah, so it really depends. I think we recommended like a jacquard. You could do like any kind of like poly lining or viscose. If you're really comfortable with silk, you could also do a silk lining. What I'm using, I think, is just like a polyester, like a charmeuse. It's like a lightweight satin. Just don't get the really, really cheap lining. I have some. I can show you. That's what I'm going to use to line my jacket, my other jacket, because that's what I bought. But don't buy that. Let me see. Where is it? Here. It's my project bag box. Okay. Here it is. So this fabric, don't buy this. This stuff, it's like really, don't get this. Don't buy that. You know that little cheap stuff, it'd be like $3-4 a yard. Don't get this. You're making a really nice jacket. It's an investment. Get something nicer than this stuff. This is cheap. I'll send the Insta post for both patterns. Okay, perfect. Yeah. I can look. Okay, thanks. Yeah. I like to do a charmeuse. I think it's comfortable. And it's easy to like slide in and out on the sleeve. But it is a little harder to work with because it's so the jacquard. I can also show you what I got, Stephs. I got a jacquard. I got the paisley. Let me show you. This is what I bought. So it's a little heavier and like a little bit more stiff than this stuff, which is really drapier, really drapey. And it has the paisley pattern in it. I got this one from Mood. So this is one that we recommended. They have some at Wowak too.
Thanks. This year, there are 4 exciting new ideas to choose from.
Auntie Carol just texted me. She like, holy shit, I'm asleep. Like, yeah, we know.
iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max. iPhone 17 comes in sage, this blue, white, black, and lavender. iPhone Air comes in light gold.
Yeah, so this is what I got. But yeah, I think it's up to you. She said don't get any, I forget what she called it, but don't get any like heavy lining. Like those heavy satins. Oh, she said she'll join in 15 minutes. Yay. So I can entertain us for 15 more minutes. So she said don't get any of the heavy satin. I forget what she called it. But Bengaline or something, whatever that is, don't buy that. Whatever she said it was. We can ask her when she comes. Okay. Is this right? Yeah. Yeah, baby. So I'm making my jacket really basic so I can show you on the other side. I already did it. It's upside down. Here we go. So I just like I just took out the welt because, and I took out the pocket. There was a pocket here. Took out the pocket. See, it wasn't welting like I wanted it to, and I just could not bear. I just couldn't bear it, so I had to let it go. So I'm gonna stitch this part up. This is where our flap is. Stitch that down. I moved the iron. It's up on me. Move that away, would ya? Yeah, boy. All right. Can I skip this? Hi, Miss Angela. So Auntie Carol said she'd be here in about 15 minutes. So I'm just keeping us company. I'm working on my jacket. Okay. Okay. Now I think I have to close up the sides here. See what I can do. This thing have me want to stay on for real. Whenever I sew thick fabrics, it just be giving up on life. I'm like, I don't know. So I woke up with a funny thought, and I was trying to think how I felt about it. So I'm curious about how you feel about it. So some people think that, when you want to start a new skill, such as sewing, let's say, but it could be any skill, that, well, maybe not any skill, that if you want to sew a dress, then you should just sew a dress the first time you touch a sewing machine. And then some people feel like you should maybe start with something a little easier, like a zipper pouch or a cozy or something just really simple, just to like practice. So I was deciding what I thought was best, and I'll tell you what I thought. But you tell me what you think. What school are you from? Jump in there, see what happens, or learn the basics? By the way, my foot is not on the needle, just the needle. I'm not anywhere near the needle. I should say the pedal. I'm nowhere near the pedal. All right, here we go for real. For real. Hey, Tajiri. Okay. Everybody came back. Okay. So I think it depends on the dress pattern. It could be easy to sew that will teach you some of the basics, but I do think you need to know your way around the sewing machine. I went all in my first project, a skirt. Second was a dress. Third was a shirt dress. Okay, shirt dress. My first project was a gathered skirt. Hey, Tajiri. So if I'm understanding what you all are saying, you're saying that you think that you should probably just start with whatever you want to do, right? Is that what is this what I was just on? No, it's not. The general consensus is, let's see. There's like this gap here. I'm trying to figure out if it's a hole. There it is. There's the hole. That pothole never got finished. So basically start with something that is like of interest to you, and then go for it. Okay. So I felt a little bit split right between the two, because I'm like, I was liking it to dance because I've been a dance instructor almost 10 years. And you get all kinds of people coming to the dance class, right? I've had women who are like 73 years old in my dance classes, and I've had 18-year-olds. I've had like plus size women, I've had petite, short, tall, everything in between. Women who come off the couch, women who've been in the gym 5 days a week, former gymnasts, like all kinds of stuff. And I always think like everybody needs to know the basics. If I say inside leg, you need to know what I'm talking about. Okay. You need to know what I'm talking about. Does it matter if on day one you can go upside down because you're a former gymnast? It doesn't really matter, because if I say move your inside leg here upside down, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Because in my sport, we don't say left and right. We say inside, outside, and so other types of words, right? Because your left hand might be your left hand standing upright, but then when you're upside down, it's hard to tell which one's your left hand. So if I say your inside hand, then you should know what I'm talking about, right? You should know certain grips. So I'm like, you know what? You can be really strong and come off the couch. And it doesn't mean you need to spend, you know, it doesn't mean your program needs to look like the person who came off the couch, right? But we all need some baseline kind of information. We all need some standardization, so to speak, for safety reasons and just to really be progressive in the sport. Like, so then I liken that to sewing, because I'm like, well, do you need to spend 3 months making pillows? No, but some people do. Some people need to spend, I'm exaggerating, but some people need to spend 3 months sewing pillows, while some people, they may not need to know, like, they may not need to sew the pillow, but they need to, like Tarisha said, they need to learn the basics of the sewing machine. So, like, the one way to learn the basics of the sewing machine without all the extra gibberish that comes along with trying to learn a pattern at the same time, it's just doing some basic stitches, doing a really basic project, learning how to base stitch, learning how to gather, learning how to thread your bobbin, learning how to recognize some really common issues in the sewing machine. And so I say it's like it's personal. It's by person. If you're someone who's really crafty, you've already been hand stitching or whatever, or quilting, you already have some construction background, just like the gymnast who can maybe take pole and what they know of gym, or a ballet dancer can take basic dance concepts and apply it and pick up really fast. But they still need to know the terminology, and they still need to know how to safely get in and out of things. And so, I've trained gymnasts, and gymnasts, they move really quick because they are strong, they are athletic, they're acrobatic. Boom, they get it. They have the ab engagement. They understand when I say certain things, what I'm talking about. Someone who's never been in the gym, it's gonna take them a little longer. It's gonna take them a little longer. Can they get there? Absolutely, with dedication and consistency, but it's just gonna take longer. So that's what I think about sewing too. I'm like, everybody needs like some baseline information. And I think it's best. I think it's best to get that without all of the extra of trying to like learn a pattern on day one. But to Amber's point, the pot holder never got finished. So if it's too boring, then they won't do it. But I think that just goes to show, though, right? If you are someone who can jump in and do a dress on day one, then you're probably not someone who just came off the couch. Like, you've never even thought about the sewing machine, you've never sewn anything, you never crafted anything. That's not gonna probably be the person that can come in and do the dress on day one. But some people need to do the pillow on day one. And some people, maybe you can go ahead and do the dress. Anyways, I keep thinking about it. I'm rambling now. But for those that didn't answer, continue to drop your thoughts in the chat. I want to see what people think. I also think about, like, me, I jumped into Lyra, which is the hoop. I jumped into Lyra, and I jumped into like level 3. I think so. I skipped the first 2 levels. And although I was strong and I could do the tricks or whatever, I didn't feel like because I had all this pole background and this dance background, right? I could jump into the higher levels, but I never felt like I had all the stuff that the girls who had started from level 1 had. Like, they just had like a bit of a better flow. They knew like more filler moves because you start with those really basic moves that as you become advanced end up being your transitions, right? So when you're a beginner, a pirouette is your move. That's the trick. But when you do this a couple months, the pirouette is just a means to get to something else. Or in level two, the basic invert is your trick. That's your wild trick. That's what you just learned. This is what you're going to use to wild people. In level five, the inversion is just the means to get to the next trick. It's your transition now, it's your conditioning. So that's kind of how it progresses. And I felt like I didn't have all the fillers. I didn't have that because I never took those classes to get it. But could I get what I was learning? Yeah, I just didn't have the background. So I said there's something to be said to taking your time and learning the basics, refining your techniques, and not necessarily rushing the process just because you can. Just because you can. So I'm gonna keep thinking about it because I'm still not sure what I think. My first sewing projects were pillows, table runners, placemats, just squares, rectangles. My first garment was a tailored dress, but it was a size 6 in a pattern, and I was like a size 10 in a pattern, but I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, well, this is the smallest size on the pattern. This must be my size. And I could not get that on, so I don't even know how well the dress fit. I never remade it. And I had made it out of like the cheapest like cotton fabric that you could get at Walmart. Yeah. So that was ratchet. But I did learn how to do darts. I learned how to insert a zipper. I learned how to gather. It's a good project to learn some stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, but I do think that project wasn't so difficult because I knew how to use the sewing machine. I knew how to wind up bobbin. I knew how to change the settings on the machine. I knew the difference between tension. But I knew that because I had been practicing, right, since I was younger, working on just like simple things. And so I didn't have that challenge. My challenge was reading the pattern, not trying to learn how to use a sewing machine and trying to learn how to read the pattern. Those are two different struggles. So I don't know. The basics are always important though. Yes, I agree. My first was a high-low skirt and inside was a hot mess, but that was before I knew a serger and how to clean up the inside. Yeah, my first one, I didn't have a serger either. For a long time I used peaking shears. That's all I had. I didn't have a serger for many, many years. So all of my earlier garments are peaking shears. Unless they had a lining. I still use peaking shears, but you can't see it because there's a lining. But everything was peaking shears for me for a long. I just got a my first serger like 3 years ago. About 3 years ago. I would do like French seams if I was doing something like as I got more advanced, if I was doing something or bias binding. I use that too when I did jackets without lining. I use like bias tape, Hong Kong finishes, whatever you call that. But I hated doing that. I do not like putting binding on. Okay, Auntie Carol is here. Are you ready to be added to the stage? She's not in the frame, so I'll wait. Yeah, but I hated doing binding, but I would do that too. But yeah, I didn't have a serger for a long time. For a long time, did not have a serger. Okay, all right, we got it on. I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna set this to the side and go back to working on my sleeves. Let's see. You have to learn to read in order to read to learn. To learn to read in order to read to learn. Yeah, sure, I get it. Yes, you do. My seams were finished with a straight stitch at the end of the seams. So you would go back over, let's say this, and you would just put a straight stitch at the edge. Is that what you're saying? Why not a zigzag? You ready?
Yep.
All right. You on the right Wi-Fi?
Wait a minute. Let me go check. Yeah, it's good. We have
Okay.
a booster that Casey keeps plugging it up, and that's the bad one. So I guess that's something I can do today.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you never thought about a zigzag. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna turn it over. I've been entertaining the people with my shenanigans. Oh, well, we can get your expert opinion.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
were
Let
talking.
me know where you are and what we're doing. What you got?
Oh, I am just working on this jacket, but the
Is
people here.
that your blazer or is that just a jacket you're working on?
This is just a jacket I'm working on.
Okay.
So we were talking about. Let me turn the music off. We were discussing whether or not for a beginner, someone who's like, this is my first day of sewing, if they should be given like a project that would help them work on the basics, like a simple pillow or a zipper pouch, or even just like stitching straight lines, or should someone just pick up an easy to sew pattern and just go for it? What's your
I,
school of thought?
I would suggest just the straight lines. If they're literally, if today is the first day, I would suggest that you do two things. The easy to sew patterns right now are kind of tricky. You know what I mean? Because what they were doing was shifting pattern companies, and I don't want nobody to pick up a Vogue pajama set and it's marked easy on New Look. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I would suggest that the person that's just learning go online and get some sewing guides, which are gonna be um, notebook paper or paper printouts of lines, squares, circles. Print those out and practice stitching without thread. And then you'll see your patterns on the actual paper. So practice on paper first. And once you see that start to improve, when it starts getting boring and you're hitting the mark, then I would suggest you jump to a pattern. I personally recommend pajama pants because the seams are long. Gives you a lot of practice on controlling your foot pedal, guiding this long seam. And then by the seams being long on pants, you can see if you're waving or guiding. It kind of teaches you how to guide a little bit quicker. But if you do the paper first, that should get you through these pants because there's literally the out seam, inseam, vertical. Then you have the waistband seam. You learn about interfacing because you have to add a drawstring. So there's a lot of things that you can learn from pajama pants. You have a hem, elastic, and then of course putting them on your body and actually fitting them. You have something you can actually use. And then this is a Christmas holiday. That's what everybody's making anyway. So if you go and grab a pattern that you like and it has pajama pants, just make sure it has pajama pants in it. And then when you're feeling comfortable with moving forward, there's a robe, there's a shirt, there's a couple of other things in this pattern that are easy that you can work on that will go a lot quicker.
Okay.
I don't see the chat list though.
Oh, so you should say on the right-hand side.
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It says start the conversation. Studio chat, camera access, edit. Okay, so I still don't see it.
So, are you on your phone or are you on the laptop?
I'm on my phone. Is that why?
It might be a little hard. I think you can still see it from your phone, but I think when you look at comments you can't look at the screen too. Like you can't see them both at the same time.
Oh, I got it.
It'll be one of those tabs. Oh, okay. Or bye. or just fall off. Cool, cool, cool. I'm sure she'll be back. Hey, Miss Karen. Oh, is that Cake? Because I forgot. Cake keep changing her name. Okay. Auntie Carol is back. Okay.
All
Back.
right,
So what you might have to
I-
do is bring it up on another device. Like
That's
bring-
what I'm going to do. I'll go grab my laptop so I can see the comments and questions. So I will start doing some extra stuff. How many people are in the chat?
It's 15 right now.
Okay, good. Then we can start giving out some work.
Yeah, so I think today we wanted to talk about hand stitches. So any advice, or if you want to like demo a couple of them to get us
Yes.
started. Yeah.
Okay, let me get my let me go grab my laptop and we'll talk about hand stitches, why and what they're for, the importance of them. And then also, if some of you are done with your muslin and ready to move forward, if you cut out your fashion fabric, we can talk about interfacing. So I'll talk about that today as well. And when we have our next Zoom or live, I'll talk about interfacing again. Then that way, if you're a little bit further than some others, you can move forward. Let me go grab my laptop. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I had a headache this morning, but it's gone. So that's a good thing.
That's-
I'll be right back.
Okay. I was thinking, I think I was going to put some boning in the lining on the inside because it's supposed to have hips. But I'll do that after I get the sleeves on. No, Cake, you did not miss anything. Actually, Auntie Carol just got here. So I've been entertaining the people with my shenanigans. I am working on my sleeve now. I'm going to put my lining on here. And yeah. So you're just in time. Okay. I'm going to turn off YouTube on my phone. When you do your sleeves, so I taught them this this technique for doing sleeves that don't have buttons is that you can put right sides together, stitch around, make sure the lining is like an inch or whatever shorter, and it'll pull up like this.
Right. And then you can just flip it. And that's actually great because when we're doing our tailoring, we're going to be hand stitching in the shoulder cap. And the lining for the sleeve is already there. So that's wonderful. That's the difference between bagging a jacket and tailoring a jacket. You can definitely do the tailoring for the sleeve bottom if you don't have a slit and you don't have buttons. But we're going to be hand stitching in the shoulder cap. And right now, if you look at Shamir's, you can see the finished inside, but the sleeve and the lining are separated at the cap.
Yeah. So it's here and you get your sleeve. So it's already nice and hemmed for you.
Right. It's already done. All right. I have my laptop. When you sent me the invite, was it an email or was it a message?
It was a text. You want me to send it to you on email?
Send it to my email, and then that way I can I can click the link and log right into the StreamYard with my laptop. I'm up last night on live, just thinking I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. Let me just go.
I literally told you in your messages, I was like, make sure you get some rest because you have a lot tomorrow. You just kept ignoring it. I don't know if you didn't see it or
I didn't even see it because I would have got my ASS off live. I sure would have.
how long were you up there? Because you know I'm going to shenanigan.
Listen, after I got done, I noticed that one of the buttons was off. And I'm like, I'll do the buttons tomorrow. You know me, I stayed up and finished them last night. This morning. Okay.
Yeah, I woke up at 1 a.m. and you was still on there. 1 a.m. my time. I was like,
It was about two. It was two something my time. So
oh, it would have been like 3 my time by the time you got off. Mm-mm.
you sent to my email address, right?
Yeah, so excited.
Good.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, y'all saw the finished blouse? Yeah, I missed it. I was like, she gonna be up here all night.
I was like, I don't want to do this no more.
Ew.
Why am I getting the code? Why are they sending me a code?
This might be a little tight, but
Next. And then we'll talk about hand stitches. And like I said, we'll talk about interfacing.
and maybe you can talk about like what parts of the jacket you're planning to attach by hand, like the sleeve, the pockets, whatever else I think we might be.
Yeah.
Because some people are definitely ready to move on. And then tailor tacks. Like
Okay.
I know we tack the circles. Do you do tacks for your darts? Like do you tack everything? Like where
You tack everything.
it's gonna go? Okay.
Let me mute and
Do you use different colors depending on what they are so that people signify things, you know? There you go. Which one you want to be up? This one. You on mute.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yay, I see comments now. Hey everybody. I like doing StreamYard with my laptop way better. All right. Now I can even join the chats, connect to your YouTube. Nah, I'm not even join the chat. I don't need to join the chat. I'm live. All right. So do you guys have any questions for Shamir? Hey Julian, how are you? All right, so here we go. First thing we can talk about is we're going to talk about hand stitching, and we'll talk about tailor tacks first. And these are the things that you should be doing or you have them follow along in your book. When you do tailor tacks, I recommend that you use embroidery floss because it's thicker. It holds better to your fabric. And it comes in different colors. If you don't have any embroidery floss, then you can just use regular thread. I would double it up and use 2 strands of thread, and then you do your tacks. So let me grab some embroidery floss. Get I have a piece of fabric here that's white that I can cut, and I can also do some demoing for you guys if you need to see the demoing. And we're going to talk about a couple of other things for those of you that are really ready to move forward. All right, let me grab some embroidery floss. Put that in my package. All right. If you've seen this before, this is the DMC floss. You can buy embroidery floss. You just need to buy one and make sure it's a color that contrasts with what it is that you're making. So If you're doing black, you can use white or any other color. If you're using white, you can use any other color. Green jacket, use red. Something that's easy to see. And I want you guys to tailor tack everything. We'll be using chalk. We can use chalk to do some markings, but we want to tailor tack darts. We want to tailor tack any dot markings that are on the pattern. And this is especially if you have a fabric that's a little bit more expensive, because sometimes the chalk and all of that stuff doesn't come out. If you're using a fabric that is very loosely woven, like Shamir is working with a boucle fabric right now on her jacket, and you can see that she has her whole sleeve interfaced. That's called block fused, and block fusing is what's needed when you work with a fabric that is loosely woven. So I'm hoping that nobody is using boucle, because that is the rule that we said: no boucle, no plaids moving forward. So don't think that you should be doing what Shamir is doing, because Shamir's working on her own jacket. All right. So for the DMC floss, you're going to be using the DMC floss. You can get this at Michael's if you don't have any at home, or you don't have any from Joann. Comes in all different colors, and it's like, I don't know, 25 to 50 cents for one skein of it. Diane, I know you was always telling on me. So when you use your DMC floss for your tailor tacks, when you look at embroidery floss, I don't know if anybody ever looked at it, but embroidery floss is in 6 different strands. So if you look at it, you can see it's pretty thick. What you can do is go in, grab yourself 2 strands, literally 2 strands, and then give the DMC a chance to fall and spin if it's tangled, and then you just pull it apart. And then here's your 2 strands that you're going to use for your tailor tacks. And then go ahead and thread those through a needle. And of course, I don't have a needle.
So, question for tacks: do you use this wax, or do you only use wax when you're doing your permanent stitches?
You're going to only use your wax when you're using you're going to only use your wax when you are basting with your regular polyester thread. That's when you're going to be using your wax. So if you're doing tailor tacks with DMC floss, you don't need to wax floss. Okay, so I have it threaded here, and I'm going to cut out myself a piece of fabric here. And then tailor tacks are also explained in your books if you're not sure about it. But I'm going to do a demo for you. So I'm just imagine that this is my pattern piece. And then we're going to put some pocket markings up here. Okay. Ooh, this is a horrible drawing. That's okay. Okay. So on my pattern, this is my pattern. I have a dart and 3 dot markings. So underneath is going to be my fabric, right? Because my pattern is on top of my fabric. And here's a good tip for you. If you're nervous about the doing your tailor tacks, just add a couple extra pins on the top of your, add a couple extra pins on the top of your pattern just to hold your pattern in place just in that area. You could put maybe a pin here, a pin here, just to hold it down. So when you start moving or adding your tailor tacks, you might have to put your, you may feel like you have to put your hand under. But once you get used to doing tailor tacks, you're not going to even stick your hand under. You're literally going to put that in and not even think twice about it. So put a couple of extra pins in the pattern in that area, just so you're not moving your pattern piece, because you normally do pin it down. And I'm just going to put a couple of pins in that area. And you can see I just put these pins down just to hold my quote unquote pattern piece to my fabric. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tacks, and these are going to be markings. And the reason why we're going to use tailor tacks is because they're easier to see, easier to match. And when you match tailor tacks instead of matching dots that you've drawn on, it's way more precise because it is literally a smidget of area. You can match yarns with yarns. You can match, instead of sometimes with, when you use a chalk pencil or a larger piece of chalk and you're moving the pattern and you're marking, it's not actually precise. The mark is there in the general area, but it's not in the exact area. So tailor tacks give you an exact match or mark. It may be something that you grow to like and to start using on a regular basis. I only use them when I make tailored blazers. I mean, I could use them to do other stuff. I probably should. But to me, tailor tacks are really useful for pockets. I don't know why I don't do it when I do pockets. And it's just because I'm used to using the pencil and the pen. It's really faster. But these are good to do. So now what you want to do is you want to go in through the fabric, and it's literally, you're going to go in one end and come out the other end, and you're going to penetrate all layers of the fabric, and then you're just going to pull it through. So now when you have tailor tacks and you say, well, how long should they be, or how long do we need to have them? They need to be long enough that if you separate the fabric, you should be able to clip them, and then there's tacks in one layer, tacks in the other layer. And I'll do that. I'll show you guys that. Sometimes if I think sometimes if I think mine are too short, I'll loop it again, really, really loose. And don't do this unless you feel like they're really, really short. And you can see my top loop is short. So I got the tags here, and then you go ahead and you clip them. Now, this is just an example. And then I pull them open. So what you're doing is you're literally sewing two pieces of fabric together. And then you go inside the fabric and you clip it. Now I have tack here. And then I have a tack here. You can see it on it sideways. So now when I get ready to match something, I put tack to tack, and then I'm ready to pin it together or baste it together, and then I can stitch following the tacks. Okay, So when you're doing tacks for darts and markings, and I'm getting ready to show you that right now, you're going to put as many as you need. So don't think, well, do I just put, one here and one here? If you feel like you need to tack the whole dart, tack the whole dart. If you feel like you want to just tack the dot markings on the dart, which is the tip, the dart legs, you can still do that. Now, one thing that I do encourage though is if you have a dart that's on, you shouldn't have a dart on the side, but if you have a fisheye dart, well, yeah, no, never mind. Okay, scratch that because nobody has side darts. But I'll just mention it. If you are working on, let's say you're working on a blouse or a shirt and you start using tailor tacks and you're like, I really like these. I think I'm just going to use them. If you have the horizontal dart on the side, you can still clip at the end of the dart legs and then go ahead and put tailor tacks in the dot markings. So I'm going to tack this little fake dart that I have here. I'm getting ready to tack my fake dart and then my marks. So I'm going in through the dart, making sure that I'm coming through the other side. I'll turn my camera because the light is getting here. Making sure I'm going through the other side. See my needle right there? You can see my needle going through the fabric. So I know I'm piercing the other side. And I'm just coming through. And all it is one incomplete, it's just one incomplete pass of your thread going through the fabric. And then stop and just make sure that there's enough length there that when I spread these two fabrics, I can clip in the middle. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to tack this whole dart. It's like the first tailor tack is like a basting stitch, but you just don't complete it. You just cut it off. And I'll show it to you from both sides of the fabric so you can see what it looks like. Let's put one here. Go there. That's too short, so I'm going to get rid of that and I'm going to start over because I'm working here with some small pieces. Oh, here's the other piece. I'm like, where's that piece that I cut? Now, if you grab more than 2 strands of floss, that's perfectly fine. But I only say use 2 strands because there's 6 strands. Hey, Dee, there's 6 strands of floss, just saving yourself some floss. Sam, do you like using tailor tacks? It makes the project a little easier. And the best part about tailor tacks is they don't disappear. So if one of them people like me that I've had instances where I ironed over my chalk marks or I was using a friction pen and all my markings have disappeared, or maybe you used the fabric that was chalky and the chalk disappeared. You don't ever have to worry about tailor tacks going away. They're always there. I got a suit hanging on the back of my door that's been there for a long time, and all the tailor tacks are still there. And for that tacking, I used wax thread. I thought for sure they would eventually slip out, but no, the tacks are still there. But the reason why I recommend floss is because it's like a yarn, so it'll adhere to the fabric. and then it'll stay while we're manipulating and doing other things to the fabric. All right, so here's my dart. Looks kind of hairy, but you can see my single pulls through the little areas here. There's one here, one at the point. And then if you look at the back, this is the second layer of fabric. You can actually see the shape of the dart being stitched. And it looks kind of like a base stitch because I have to go through both layers of fabric in order to include both layers in my tacks. Then you take the first one. Let me bring the camera down here on my book. Let me see if I got a black piece of fabric here to kind of combat some of this light. All right, so then all I do is pull them, clip, pull, clip. Okay, so now you can see I have my tacks here. And I got a little extra length on the front. So sometimes what I do is I'll go on the other side and I just give me a little pull so I can make sure I have enough length. But I don't know why and how, but they stay. These are definitely going to stay because they have a hook on the bottom. But we got these here and we got these here. So now when I get ready to stitch my dart, I can fold my dart and I match my tacks. So it's just like instead of matching lines, you're going to be matching your threads. Grabbing the tip of the dart here, matching your dart tips and your lines. You want to pin, you can pin. You want to do whatever you can. And then once you get your tailor tacks in, sew literally a 1/16 of an inch. You can literally sew like a 32nd of an inch just beyond the tailor tacks, and then that way you don't catch them with your threads or you don't catch them when you're sewing. I don't recommend that you sew through them because then they're hard to pull out. If you have tweezers, you can pull them out, but that's a little extra work. But what I was taught is once you have your tacks in place, to literally stitch right next to the tacks that you have. Like, here's your tack, here's your finger. Stitch right next to it. Because if you draw a line, when you normally draw a line on your fabric, you're using chalk or you're using a marker. This is not a pinpoint. It's not a pinpoint straight line. Actually, if we measure this line, it's probably about a 32nd inch, and that's from this pencil right here. If you put a tack here, your tack might be at the top of this line, and you'll be stitching like in the middle of this line. So we're in the same areas. When you do this, that means that you have to stitch super slow. Okay, so I'm going to act like this black marker is my line. So those of you that have been sewing through tailor tacks and like, damn it, I done sewed once, and you spending all of this time picking them out, you shouldn't have to do that. Now you can see my line is just below my tack, and then all I have to do is pull my tacks out. Okay, and then Tailor tacks are not like baster threads. You don't have to leave them in through the whole length of the construction. Once you get that tailor tack area stitched, you can remove your tailor tacks and you can move on. As opposed to a basting stitch that stays in the whole time you're constructing your garment. Okay. So make sure, and literally underneath is like a 32nd, a 64th. That's how far your stitch is going to be away from your tailor tacks. It's going to be just below them. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that and how to do tailor tacks? All you do is pierce the fabric, literally with your pen. You're piercing the fabric. You're going below and you're coming through. It's just like a basting stitch, and then you pull it on the fabric, roll the fabric back, clip them, roll the fabric back, clip them. Just make sure that they're long enough that they don't pull out of your fabric. Okay. When I use my little double loop is when I feel like my thread is a little bit too short. And then what happens is it loops the first fabric and it loops the second fabric. But if they're pulled a little too tight, it's like a knot. So you really have to be careful if you do that, and be mindful that you did that. So when you start pulling them out, you're not making a knot, and then you got to spend 5 minutes trying to figure out how to get that knot out of your fabric. But these are foolproof. They stay wonderfully, and they've actually been touching this fabric, this corduroy below, and nothing has fallen out. Okay. So you can actually see how the tailor tacks are done. Does anybody have any questions about tailor tacks? Let me look in the comments right now. Probably lazy. Well, start using them again so you can get used to using them on the jacket, because that's going to take some time. And when we're sewing next to tailor tacks, you're going to have to sew slow. So that's going to take up some of your time. Um, that's where some of your time is going to be going, stitching next to tailor tacks, making sure you don't sew over them. And then while you're doing this, um, you're going to be stitching slower. What is the benefit of tailor tack over marking? It's way more accurate. So you're not, when you're marking the top fabric and the bottom fabric, sometimes your pen can move. Maybe you may move your paper. Maybe you pin through the paper. It keeps your markings spot on for the top fabric and the bottom fabric. The right sides, or the first layer and the second layer. Literally, when you pull them apart, they are marked in the exact same place. You ever have a pocket marking on, and then you notice that maybe one pocket is like not noticeably higher, but noticeably higher to your eye as a sewer? You're like, dang it, that pocket flap is a little bit off. That comes from physical marking with a pen, and you just using your hand. Some people want to eyeball it, but when you do tailor tacks, it goes in and out each layer in the exact same place. Okay, makes sense. Good question. A lot of people usually ask that. That was a question that I asked. I'm like, well, what difference does it make? Why can't we just use, why can't we just use, the marking pins? Yeah, my teacher used to look at me and roll. He used to roll his eyes at me all the time.
He's sick.
I was the bad kid in the class. All right, so practice. If you want to just literally take two pieces of fabric, draw a line, or draw yourself a dart. Better than me. You can tailor tack and make sure you're getting both fabrics. Roll the fabric back when you clip. Roll it back when you clip. Okay. We're just starting D with tailor tacks. And I'm late too. Shamir was on time. She gets the gold star. The first thing I do is when I wake up is I check my phone because I know I done missed something, forgot something, did something. She's like, coming. I'm like, oh shit. supposed I'm supposed to be on the live today. All right. So we're gonna talk tailor tags. So tailor tags are what you want to do for any marks, any dot markings, darts, the fisheye darts, especially the one that goes over the welt pockets. Now, when it comes to marking your welt pockets, I want you to draw your welt pockets on, but I need you to tailor tack those rectangle dots, which determine the width of your welt pocket if you're doing a welt pocket, um, and the length of the welt pocket. So we need four tacks, one on each end of the rectangle. If you want to put one in the center, that's fine. Then you'll have six markings for um, the welt pocket. Do they ever come out? They come out when you pull them out. So if you're going to use the DMC floss and you put them in, they stay in. They don't come out. The bottom layer is actually hooked with a hook. The top layer goes through. Just make sure that they're long enough. Okay. You don't have to make them small. If you're uncomfortable, make them longer. And then you know they're not going to fall out. So you can make them longer. Okay. Once you get used to them, then you'll make them a little shorter. Okay. I used to make mine really long because I was afraid that they were going to come out while I was working on my garment. But let me tell you what that taught me how to do. It taught me how to handle the fabric a little lighter. I wasn't so gangbusters on, flipping it and flapping it all over the place. I kind of was like, all right, I don't want these to fall out. So let me be a little bit mindful of how I'm handling my fabric. But if you make them long enough, don't worry, they're not going to come out. Okay. Just make sure that you have a little length on them. Make sure your DMC floss is longer when you're putting them in, and then you cut them so that they're nice and long. But no, they're not going to come out. All right. Now let's talk about skip basting and hitch. Those are the main two stitches that we're going to be using in the beginning. Skip basting is what we're going to use to baste our canvas to the jacket. Um, and then catch stitching is what we're going to use to uh, catch down seam allowances, catch down our roll line tape. Um, and if you have the double sided tape, and I'm referring to the tape that washes or it goes away. You can use this to hold down your roll line, just little pieces of it to hold it down, or you can pin it down, whatever you're comfortable with. There's a double-sided tape that washes away with water, or it dissolves when dry cleaning. If you want to use that to help hold your roll line tape in place, you can definitely do that. Or like I said, you could just pin it down. I do both. Whatever I have on hand, I'll pin it down, and then I'll go in and I'll catch stitch the edges all the way around. But this hand stitching techniques, guys, literally takes no time. I don't want you to think that, oh, it's going to take forever. It doesn't take a long time. All right, let me grab myself a longer piece. Now, when you're doing your skip basting, you're going to use your regular polyester thread, your all-purpose thread. Make sure that it is a contrast color. Any hand sewing that you're doing, you need to make sure it's a contrast color than the fabric that you're working with. It does not need to be your project thread, because the easier it is to see, the easier and the faster it is that you're going to take it out. All right, now for skip basting, literally you're going to need a long piece of thread. You're going to wax this thread, drag it through the wax, and after you drag it through the wax, you're going to go to your iron and you're going to press it. And what that's going to do is that's going to solidify the wax on the thread. It makes the thread much stiffer. If you're using silamide thread and you bought silamide thread, you don't need to do that. Silamide thread is already waxed. When you use wax on regular all-purpose thread, it coats the thread and it stops the thread from knotting. And that's why you see it nice and stiff. Make sure you iron it, because if you don't iron it, what's going to happen is when you do a basting pass, all that wax is going to come right off onto your fabric. We don't want to have a ball of wax on your fabric because it could stain. All right. Go ahead and press your thread after you wax it, and then you are good to go. What I usually do is take a nice long piece of thread, I drag it through my wax, and then I start with my iron here, and then I just pull my thread underneath my iron, the whole length of my iron, and I just pull it right under, just like that. Okay, one more time. After I wax my thread, this is my iron, I drive right through. I think waxing the thread is in the Reader's Digest book, but I definitely know that the basting technique is in there. Yes, it's in all the books, Zena. Okay, so make sure you iron your thread. And then once you iron that wax, it'll be ready to go. Now, to skip baste, this is what you're going to use to put your canvas onto your fabric. Okay, because your hair canvas is not fusible. Okay, but it needs to be placed on the fabric. So you're going to start with a loop, and this is taught in in your books. Let me give myself a single layer here. This corduroy was like, "What you doing?" Well, you get ready to be a demo, so just shut your yap and just lay there and be demo fabric. All right, so here's my canvas. I got it laid on the chest piece. Let me bring this off of here, down here. Much better. Okay, and still like I got this light. That's better. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to skip baste. And when you start, you're going to just go through one stitch. And one stitch is considered like a tailor tack. Then you're going to go through one more time. So you're going to do kind of like a circle. Make sure you have some thread out. This first stitch is one complete circle. You're going under, and then you're going under again. But make sure you leave yourself a tail when you first go through the first one. And then the rest of them are literally, you can make them as long or as short as you want. This is like some thick fabric here. And so I just went through 2 layers and then just pull it through. And this is what you need your thimble for. You see me just grabbing. Okay. And it is literally just, when you baste, make sure that your line is as straight as you can get it. So when you're doing your basting, you want to have a nice line. You may not, when you're first practicing, you may not be able to get the distances or the stitches the same length, but try your best to work on making sure that your basting is even. So you can see my basting stitches here, 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 here. All I did was go under, out, literally just skip basting. And then when we see it on the other side, we see our basting stitches coming on the other side. Now you can make them as long or as short as you need them. If you're basting a longer area, you can make them a little bit longer just to make the process go a lot faster. Okay. The rule of basting is start in the center, then go out on the edges. Always start in the center first. And you can use this rule if you're basting not only canvas to a jacket. Say you're doing a lace project and you want to base that lace onto that fashion fabric or that colored fabric. Start your basting of the lace in the center, then come out to the edge, come out to the edge. Okay. And then if you feel like you need to add more lines of basting, then you come inside. So I can have on this piece of fabric, just this piece we're looking at, I can have my center, which is one line, one edge, which is line 2, line 3. Then I can come in and I can do line 4 and line 5. So I'm coming now in the center of these two lines, in the center of these two lines. If we need more basting, in the center of these two lines. Always basting in the center of all of your lines. Okay. Starting in the center of the fabric, then get the outer pieces. Okay. Then we have 2 lines here, 2 lines here. We need more. Oh, I need more. This is not as secure as I want it to be. Based here in the center. Need another line based here in the center. Now we have this here. We can baste in the center of these lines. So this is how you're going to do your basting. Always baste in the center. If you feel like you need more stiffness or you need more adherence, like this is not enough, I need another line, go ahead and add your lines, but always go through the center of the lines that you currently have on your jacket or a lace project, whatever it is that you're basting down. If you ever seen in the tailor shop, when you see those guys have all of those lines and they look so neat, that's how they get very neat, and that's how you get them in the areas where they need to be. Always start in the center, outside, outside. And now, when I mean by the outside, sometimes you may have a piece of fabric that you're based into another fabric. Then you got your neckline, and maybe your armhole is near there. I don't baste my neckline or my armhole until I know that my centerpiece is down and it's sturdy. Then I just go ahead and do a huge basting, and literally I start from the right side and I go all the way to the left. You don't have to, like normally we sew, oh, I'm gonna start at the center and then I'm gonna go this way, then I start at the center and then I'm gonna go this way. When you're basting, you're going in one direction only. Okay, so you may start here at the right and come all the way around. Do we sew it down permanently somehow? No. Once your canvas is hand basted in, it's there, it's going to be there permanently. And what's going to get it to stay there permanently is the process. Once we get everything constructed and get everything stitched, when your jacket is all sewn together, when you pull those basting stitches out, there's going to be some stitching that's going to cross over this canvas that's going to actually hold it in place. You're going to have your collar piece that is pad stitched, and it's connected to some other pieces, so it's never going to move. And then and then Zena, around the edge of your canvas, we're going to be catch stitching it to the fabric. So you're going to be hand stitching this thing in place, so it's not going to move. That, instead of sewing it down permanently, it's going to be hand stitched down permanently. Yes, everything is going to be cut from the pattern piece. Your interfacing pieces that we're going to put throughout the jacket, your jacket stay, your hair canvas piece. If you do a shoulder guard, your shoulder guard, all of these are going to be cut from the pattern piece. So what I would suggest, when we start cutting out these extra pieces, instead of damaging your pattern, make sure you have some tissue paper or something else we can use as a pattern paper, that we can use, and then we can use it as a pattern. So we can kind of quote unquote make patterns as we go of the canvas piece, the shoulder guard, if you want the shoulder guard, the jacket stay. And these are general pattern pieces that you can use every time. And then we know that they'll fit your body because we're going to take them off of the pattern. You need to prep the canvas and cut the front piece again. You lost me on that one. Have you already cut your canvas? Did you already cut your canvas? I'm going to, let me take these tailor tacks out. See how I'm just grabbing them? And I'm just taking them out. Tailor tacks are going to be removed when you pull them out, not when, they're not going to fall out. I'm going to do another skip basting here, just so you guys can watch. I don't have my thimble. I never found it. I need to get another one. Zena, that question is to you. No, I have not cut it, but the darts are complete on the fashion fabric. No, that's fine because your canvas is not going to cover up the darts. And I'll show you guys how to cut the canvas. If you have in a book, I'll go over that today too. So yeah. And if you cut it, that's fine. Just make sure on your canvas, there are no seam allowances. And if you use the tailoring book or one of the books to guide yourself on how to do the canvas, you can do that. Just make sure that there's no seam allowances on the canvas, and they state that in the books. All right. Having a little bit of a tough time because this is a thick fabric. I'm actually using cotton canvas and corduroy, so we're talking about super thick. Okay, let me scroll back down here. All right, so I just did one more line of stitching, and then they end up being parallel rows right next to each other. Okay, this one is a little shorter. This is my starting mark, so I go in and go in again, then I start my basting. This is my lockdown. You want to lock down in the beginning, and then you want to lock down that last stitch in the end. Okay, and when you lock them down, make sure you save yourself some extra thread. So you go under, you loop it again, and then you start your basting. And then when you get to the end, now let's not play thread chicken when we're basting. Okay, so if you get to the end and if you have this much left, if you play thread chicken to be like, you know what, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm going to use this little bit of thread. What's going to happen is you're not going to have enough to do your tie off at the end or your last loop. And then you'll literally, I've been there, done that. You'll be like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and just leave it. I'm just going to let it hang out. Then what's going to happen is this is going to come out. And then you'll be in a whole bunch of trouble because you'll have this thread hanging and you're not sure what was this. So my advice to you is when you look like your thread is not going to make it, go ahead and tie it off, do your loop at the end, Go through the fabric and loop it through again and finish it. Clip it off and get you some new thread. No chicken, no chicken. Okay. If your thread gets small, loop it off, cut it, put a new thread on there. Don't try and finish it, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up pulling threads out, and then you're really going to confuse yourself, and it's frustrating. So when you see your thread is not, if your thread is not going to make it all the way to the end of the canvas or to the bottom of the jacket, stop it, loop it, cut it. Start with a new piece of thread, and then just start from where you left off. You can do that. We can have a loop here in the middle, continued down. You can do that. But don't overrun your thread. Don't go all the way to the end and be like, I'm just gonna leave that, because it's gonna come out. I guarantee you that. Yeah, no chicken. Thank you. I know a lot of y'all love the thread, then the thread chicken and the bobbin chicken game. We're not gonna do that when we're hand basting, because you're just gonna be wasting your own time. You don't want to do that. The jacket's gonna take long enough to finish. So eliminate that frustration, because you're going to be going slow. You need to make sure that you do everything completely that needs to be done. All right, so let me try and get this glare out of here so you guys can see my hand basting from the top. Here's my loop chain. The first two are going to be connected, and then you start your basting. And like I said, when you're doing your parallel basting, try and keep the stitches the same. Try and keep the same length, the same distance in between. And you can just use the other one as kind of a guide. And if it's not exactly the same, that is okay. Okay, especially if this is your first time. Don't worry about it. But if you got this one coming all the way over here and this one's going all the way down there, then you gotta you need to slow down and take your time, and then just baste going forward, going forward, going forward. And the reason why these are called basting stitches is the same reason why they're called basting stitches in sewing. They're larger and easier to remove. Okay, and we're going to be doing a lot of basting through the process. All right. Now, the next stitch I want to talk about is catch stitching. And this is what we're going to be doing to secure our canvas, to secure our roll line. And we may be catch stitching some seam allowances. If you have splits at the back, we're going to be catch stitching. This is the hem stitch that we're going to be using to hold fabric down. And the reason why we catch stitch is because catch stitch literally is a zigzag stitch. It's flexible, and it's a sturdy stitch because it goes through the fabric. So it's flexible. It allows movement with your body. And then when you press it, it doesn't show through. All right. So let's talk about catch stitching. Um, Let me get, I'm going to get probably a darker thread so you guys can see the catch stitch thread. Now, for catch stitching, when you do most of your hand basting and you're sewing, you're going to be sewing from right to left. This is my right. It might be left on the screen. You're going to be basting from right to left, right to left. When you catch stitch, you're going to be going from left to right. Let me grab a different color. Some black. So just an FYI, and I know Shamir is a jacket maker. So a lot of you all, if you're going to be making jackets and a lot of blazers and tailor techs, this is what I do. When I go to the store, I may have an extra dollar in my pocket. I just pick up a DMC floss, and I keep all my flosses in one bag for my tailor techs, for my basting, And for sewing on buttons, I like this to sew buttons on coats. Just keep it separate, and then eventually you'll have the colors that you normally use on a regular basis. And then eventually, as Will says, you all will have as much shit as I have. Will said, Miss Carol, you have entirely too much shit. Oh my goodness. All right. I am separating my floss here, or is this? Oh, this ain't floss. Um, this is twisted. This is the twisted floss. This is what I use when I sew my buttons on, but I'll use this as a catch stitch. Let me just thread my needle. Get you a needle threader if you need one. I'm still kind of in denial. I use a needle threader sometimes. Can I use a heavier thread for the hand sewing? Like a quilting cotton thread. Yeah, you can use a quilting cotton thread for the basting. Anything that's going to be removed, you can use a basting thread. You can use mercerized thread or cotton thread, that's fine. But for catch stitching, you need to use polyester because it's staying inside the garment. Everything else is being taken off. Okay, so yeah, you can use that for your basting thread. Same thing, Diane. Whether you're left-handed or not, you're gonna always be stitching in the same direction. Just like you have a right-handed sewing machine and you stitch on the right hand. So yeah, it's a little bit extra for the lefties. But yeah, the direction that you're sewing is going to be from left to right. If if it's better for you to go the opposite way, by all means, as long as the sky's not falling outside, you're good. I mean, just because you're left-handed doesn't mean you have to always follow the rules, especially hand basting. But if you can, try it. If you're not ambidextrous like that, then do what makes you comfortable. Okay. When you have projects like these, what you don't want to do is add in extra frustration. And for Yvette, did that make sense to you? You can use the cotton thread for your basting. If you have the cotton thread, that's fine. Perfect. 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 You can definitely use that for your basting. Don't make it too thick though, because we're going to be pulling this out and we don't want to have large holes in the garment that have to be steamed out or pressed out. Make sure that the needle is, you know, thin enough that it doesn't leave a whole bunch of extra, boo boo in the garment, in the fabric. All right, so catch stitching is in the books. So if you have your Reader's Digest book or your Vogue sewing book, you can look up catch stitching. And in the index in the back, it's probably under H for hand stitches, or in the table of contents, it's probably in the hand stitching chapter. And what it is a whole bunch of little X's. And I am going to fold this fabric up. And it's a hem stitch. And it's also a stitch that you're going to be stitching from one layer to another. Might not necessarily be a hem, could be another piece of fabric. All right, so you're going to start with a knot. And remember when I told you guys, when you do a lot of pad stitching, a lot of catch stitching, have a good day. And all right. When you sit down, if you're sitting down, it's good to cross your legs and keep that project in your lap. So cross your legs and then keep that project in your lap. It's easier to get to. All right, so now I'm going to start my catch stitch. And I'm going to do a couple of them, and then I'll go back in and explain what you're looking at.
I'll be back. I got a pizza today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm leaning back. I'm leaning back. Who is that? No, that might be KC. All right, my thread then gave out on me. All right. Okay, so it's separated. So I'm not going to worry about this last stitch. I'll get this last stitch out. Okay, now here it is on the back. It's just one little stitch here. That's the stitch that's going through the top. And then I have my hem stitch here. So what it is when you start the stitching, you start at the bottom row, you knot it, and you go through your bottom row or the bottom layer of fabric, and then you come up. And you come up, you cross at the top, then you go down to the next layer, cross at the bottom, over the top, down at the bottom, over the top, down at the bottom, over the top, down at the bottom. And you can see it forms these little zigzag X's. This is what causes the thread to be flexible, okay, and allows it to move. So where you see my stitches peaking is at the second level, and then where you see them crossing is at the bottom level. So when you do a hem stitch, we're actually catching the bottom in a hem. But what's going to happen is when we stitch the canvas to the fashion fabric, we're going to stitch the canvas, fashion fabric, canvas, fashion fabric, canvas, fashion fabric. Now the trick to catch stitching is once you practice it and get comfortable to where your needle is supposed to go, then you can work on making sure that they're evenly spaced. Okay. And then as a guide, this is what I used to do in school. This is just what I used to practice, is I used to put dots using my ruler. I just kind of had a visual guide until I got used to the rhythm. When I got used to the rhythm, then I knew that my stitches were spaced an inch apart, about an inch apart, about an inch apart. These are things that I've done over the years that have helped me learn how to eyeball. And determine how wide something is, or how, where's that, if you guys have been on lives with me, or I've been on somebody's live and I'm like, you know what, that looks like that might be about an inch. Maybe you need about a half an inch. This is how I learned how to eyeball, just learning from hand stitches and making sure that each one is spaced apart. So when you're doing your catch stitch, I'm gonna kind of do a demo, but my thread here is not a good piece of thread. Start in through the bottom, and this is either the bottom or whatever you want to go in, and this is only so you can hide your knot. Okay, and we all know about regular hand stitching. We don't want the knot to show. So you come up from the back, right? So you come up from the back. Then, since this is on the one thread, then we're going to start our catch above or right next to the edge of the other fabric. So if we're doing a canvas catch, we're going to start in the canvas, and then we're going to go next to the fashion fabric. Canvas, fashion fabric, canvas, fashion fabric. If it's a hem, it's through the hem, through the pants leg, through the hem, through the pants leg, the hem, pants leg, and so on and so forth. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do it on an angle. You're going to go underneath like a regular stitch, bring it up on an angle so that it forms a little cross. It crosses over to the other fabric. Then when you come down, you're going to come to the second fabric and do one straight up underneath. All it is, and then when you do that, it's going to cross on its own, just because I kind of messed up here. Let me start over with a better thread. This thread is literally falling apart on me. Use some of this. I use this red floss. Usually when I'm threading, I don't know why this works, but it works. I moisten the hole of the needle.
Sure, I'm going to New York next week. Green Bay
and everybody here Keith's business. He's all the way in the kitchen. Instead of moistening the thread, moisten the eye of the needle. I don't know why it works, but it does. And then what I usually do is after I get my needle threaded, I twist it a couple times. All right. And I got a knot here. All right, so now I'm going to continue here. Coming through the bottom, just because my knot is here, right? Then I'm going to go through just a little bit over. I'm going to go underneath, come through. Then I go down, I cross over, and I go down to the hem. And then I go over my thread, and I do like a little basting stitch. That's it. Pull it through. Then I come back to the top, same thing. Going through a basting stitch. I'm pulling it. Then I cross over. Come down and shoot through. Going up. The thread will cross on its own. Cross. Then I'm coming down to my second layer. Cross over. I'm just above the hem stitch. Pushing it through, coming back down. Using my thumb to hold the thread out of the way. And then I'm doing a scoop of fabric and coming over at the top and scooping some fabric right above the hem and then just going down. So it's a back and forth motion, and you can see that they're above the hem stitch and below the hem stitch. Catching the canvas, catching the jacket fabric, however you're holding it. But we're going to be doing it in this area, catching the canvas, catching the jacket fabric. Just make sure that you don't have one way down here, one way here. Keep these even. Use your eyes to determine what the level is, and then you should be fine with spacing them. All right, these are in the book, y'all. Okay,
I got
practice the skip basting, practice your tailor tacks, practice your catch stitches. You got a question or you got to go?
a question.
Okay.
My question is those catch stitches. Can you bring back up your scrap that has the lines on it, the basting lines, or did you pull it out?
Talking about these? Or, oh, you talking about, oh, yeah. You talking about the basting stitches? Yeah, I got it down here.
Okay, so let's say though, is that lines? Are those two lines supposed to be your box for your welt pocket?
These lines here?
Yeah,
No, these are just sample basting stitches, skip bastings.
skip basting, and that's how you attach the canvas before you catch stitch, right?
Right.
The catch stitches, do they go in between those basting stitches, or
No, the catch stitches are perimeters. They go on
oh,
the outside.
oh, okay. I
Okay.
didn't know because I remember you saying like you draw a line, then in the middle, then on the outside.
No, and that's when you're attaching. So the base stitching, the purpose of base stitching is to attach one fabric to another and that it does not move. So when you start your basting stitches, you always want to start in the center. Some people will put a fabric on top of the fabric and start on the outside. If you start on the outside, what happens is you get a bubble in here.
Yeah.
And then what happens with the bubble? Have you ever seen some people have blazers and jackets on where they got the bubble or the hem's not hanging quite right? You got a bubble down at the bottom.
Yep.
That's because when it was basted, the basting was done on the perimeter. So you always want to start your basting in the center. So that's the purpose of doing the basting in the middle first. The catch stitching, however, this what I showed you here, let's act like this is the white fabric, this is the black fabric. So when you catch stitch, you're going to be using, instead of a hem, we're going to be attaching this fabric to this fabric. And this is the permanent stitch that's going to keep this attached to here. Because remember, when we're done with the jacket, the basting stitches come out.
Okay, so you're not creating like a guide for yourself. You're just putting those so that the fabric doesn't move, but it's not a guide for your rows.
Right. It's not a guide. It just, your guide is going to be the edge of your fabric. So you're going to be stitching, when you catch, you're going to catch here, then here, 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 here. That's what the little crosses are going to do.
Oh,
Okay.
so that's not the same as what's in between in the middle.
No,
Oh,
totally
yeah.
different, because these stitches are temporary. Basting stitches are temporary. They're going to be removed. Catch stitches are permanent. They stay inside the jacket.
Okay, but they're just on the edges.
Just on the edges. You got it. They're for hemming and attaching.
So that's what you're going to use to put the twill tape on.
You got it. Twill tape, and then it also goes on the edge of your canvas. Let me show you guys a picture. It's going to go around the edges of your canvas to keep your canvas in place once those basting stitches are removed. And they have a really good picture of it here. Actually, here's a good one here.
Okay, so the stitches in the middle are called pat stitches.
The stitches in the middle are basters. Those are skip basters.
No, I mean after you do the basters, after you do the catch stitches, the stitches that go like
Yeah, those are pad stitches. The pad stitches are done on the lapel and on the collar. All right, so if you look at this picture here, this is in the tailoring book, page 68, and I'll show you guys on the other books. If you look at this picture, let me bring this a little closer. If you look up, if, let me get this together. If you look a little closer here at the picture, you can see on the edge of the red here, stitches. See those catch stitches? Those are there to keep that canvas in there. That canvas is going to be nice and steady, holding in place in the jacket once the basting stitches are removed. Okay. And on this particular picture, the basting stitches are still in because the jacket's not complete. And you can see the basting stitches right here in the middle. Those are the basters. Okay. So first, the fabrics are joined together with basters. Then the fabrics are connected to one another or made as one using the catch stitches. Okay, the catch stitches is what's going to hold this in after we have our jacket in and we're actually wearing it. But you can see catch stitches here on the edge right here. And then when we start doing the roll line and we add the roll line to the canvas, it's going to be here. And you can see all them little X's on that piece of twill tape. Those are catch stitches. And that's holding that twill tape to the canvas permanently. That's how we're going to get that on there. That's going to be a little bit tedious, and this is why I want you to practice your catch stitches, because when we start catch stitching to twill tape is smaller. We got to make sure that our catch stitches fit on the twill tape. Okay, so practice with them big. Make sure you practice going from one fabric to the other fabric, one to the other, one to the other, because that's how they're done. Okay. And then practice the technique. Start from the left, and then you can do your X's. And as you travel to the right, then the X's will start to form. Okay. So practice. Once you get a rhythm, believe it or not, these go really fast. It's just a down, up. That fabric, top fabric, bottom fabric, top fabric. And then you get your thumb involved to get that thread out of the way. Then it becomes much easier. Okay. And you can see with when I had that thick black thread, and this is for Yvette. When you start doing your catch stitching, you need to use polyester all-purpose thread because it's thinner. This is a thicker thread used for quilting, and you saw me fumbling. It fell apart in the needle. It's not a good stitch. This is not good thread to use to do basting and hand stitching. You got to have some DMC floss, 2 strands of DMC floss, silicone thread or regular all-purpose thread that's been coated with wax. Makes it so much easier. And when you have wax coated thread, you don't get knots and all of this craziness here. So yeah, practice your catch stitching, and you can see I caught the top, I caught the bottom, I caught the top, I caught the bottom. You can see where the little stitches catch right below the hem. So this can be used, like I said, as a hem stitch, but we're going to be using it to attach the canvas to the underlying fashion fabric. Okay, so just imagine that this is the edge of the canvas. Some tailoring even puts, if you're using a heavy weight, like a heavier weight hair canvas, they will take twill tape and put twill tape around the perimeter. You could baste twill tape around the perimeter of your canvas, and then you can catch stitch from the twill tape to the fashion fabric, twill tape, fashion fabric, twill tape, fashion fabric. So the twill tape is based it on by machine or by hand, and that does not come out because it's connected now to the canvas. And then it's on the edge, and it's a picture here. And the reason why that's used for thicker canvases, and you can see here how they have the twill tape attached to the canvas, is usually if your canvas is thicker, it's grainier, we'll have like a bunch of separation, like the weave is loose here. And so if you try and thread from here to here, your thread's going to fall right through the weave of the fabric. So the twill tape is put on, and then the whole piece is added, and then we're catching from twill to fashion fabric, twill to fashion. In this case, from white to red, white to red, white to red. For the catch stitches, since they stay in, if you only got one spool of thread, you can use any color, doesn't matter, just as long as you can see it. It stays in, nobody's going to see it because this is going to be the super inside. So if you have, green thread, your fabric is opaque and you just want to get rid of this green thread, go ahead and use the green thread. Doesn't really matter what goes on the inside because it's going to be covered by the fashion fabric anyway. But if you have a translucent lining, then yeah, go ahead and use the fabric. Use the thread to match your fashion fabric. So that's up to you. I have done jackets where I used white thread throughout on the underneath and then finished my jacket. So yeah, it doesn't matter what goes on the inside because it's going to be covered by the fabrics anyway. Now, when we do the pad stitching needs to be whatever it is you're sewing your jacket with. So if you're making a pink jacket, we need to have pink pad stitching because there may be an instance where your pad stitching comes through on the other side because you're not used to catching it. We won't be able to see it underneath, on the underneath. So when we pad stitch out the collar and the lapels, if you're making a pink jacket, then our pad stitching needs to be pink, just in case, like I said, your thread shows through on the other side. It's going to match your jacket. That's the only time we need to use the thread the same as our fashion fabric when we're pad stitching. And so if it's, if you happen to not, if you're not grabbing a couple of threads of the jacket, of the fabric, and your needle is coming all the way through, at least, like I said, your thread is going to match your project. So for pad stitching and for um, lapels and your collar, that's going to be the same color as your fashion fabric. All right. Um, for pad stitching, do we have enough time? Do we have enough time to go over pad stitching?
What time is it? 2:30. We can go to 3 or to 2
That's what
o'clock.
I was saying. Maybe we could go like another 30 minutes because it'll take about 30 minutes to go through pad stitching.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, just an FYI for those of you who want to move forward, when you go through to your books, if you want to cut your canvas out and your interfacing, follow the rules of the book, because when we're cutting out interfacing, we're going to cut out pieces for the shoulder. We're going to cut out pieces for the jacket stay. This is our jacket stay. So it tells you how to take the pattern and cut out what we need, how to take the pattern and cut out the canvas piece. It shows you exactly how to cut out the pieces of interfacing that you're going to need for your jacket. If you are a person using the closet core pattern for your blazer, all of that's explained in your instructions, because I've done the closet core jacket before. All of that's done in your instructions. They do a wonderful guide of how to cut your hair canvas and how to cut your interfacing pieces that go on your sleeve. So we're not going to interface the whole sleeve. We're interfacing the shoulder cap. We're interfacing the wrist. where it's going to be hemmed. In your jacket, you're going to do the back part of the jacket, which is your jacket stay. If you're using a fabric, a linen fabric, and you're in a warmer climate, you're going to cut out a piece of fabric that's just across the top. Um, and it's just going to be pressed to the top of your fashion fabric. You're going to press some fabric down by the hem. Um, and then the front is going to contain the canvas and the shoulder piece if you want the shoulder guard. Uh, and that's it. So read your books on interfacing. On interfacing, it tells you how to cut out your interfacing pieces that you're going to need for your project. Lala Bell, that's you, Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn Timmy. So if you have the that uh, closet case, closet core pattern, that's really good. They have everything you need in there. One-stop shop. If you have the closet core pattern, you don't need the books. Just get the books to put in your library. So I guess that's what I can tell you. Let me look and see in the Reader's Digest book where the facing is, and then we'll talk about pad stitching. Pad stitching is what we're going to be doing for the collar lapels, and then also for the back collar and for the lapels, which is the undercollar. We're going to be doing pad stitching on the undercollar and the upper collar. Just the undercollar, not the upper collar. I forgot already. I think it's just on the undercollar, the pad stitching on the collar. Probably would help if we went here. I'm going to try and use this. Construction Basics, no. Sewing for Men and Children. That's where all the good stuff is. $3.59. So in the Reader's Digest book, you're going to be on page 359, and they're telling you patterns for interfacing. You're going to cut out the which page? Reader Digest. Yeah, I'm doing Reader Digest right now. Page 359 is the Tailoring Techniques chapter. Page 361 in my book is where they show you how to cut out the pieces. This will be your hair canvas piece. This is going to be your back facing piece. And now for the back facing piece, let me tell you, those of you who are in warmer climates, you're going to cut out interfacing that looks like this. If you're in a cooler climate or you're using a more structured fabric, you're going to cut this piece right here out in muslin, and this is what's called your jacket stay. Okay, so you can either use it in not fashion fabric, muslin, this piece right here, or interfacing, depending on what you're using as your outer fabric. Me, I like a jacket stay in all of my jackets, so I cut mine out in 100% cotton, and my cotton is always pre-washed and pre-shrunk before I add it to my jacket. Okay, these go in even if I don't tailor it. Even if I don't tailor a jacket, I always add a jacket stay. It just makes the jacket fit much nicer, stops it from stretching on the hanger. It just makes for a nice weight in the shoulders. So I do that all the time. All right. And then when you are cutting out the canvas for your jacket, what you're going to do, the reason why it's curved like this is because it eliminates the area where your dart is and your pocket. Welt pocket, patch pocket does not need to be included in this structural part. That's why this part right here is cut out, because your dart, your welt pocket, patch pocket, everything is in this area here. And we don't need canvas in that area. We only need canvas on the shoulder, the arm, a little bit under the armhole, the collar, and the lapels. That's mainly what our canvas is for, the lapels. And then a little bit of shaping and structure at the front where your buttons and your buttonholes are going to go. Okay. This is why it's curved. So it's avoiding all that extra stuff that's right here. So your darts should not be covered up by canvas. Your pockets should not be covered up by canvas. So if you're using, you said it's on and popping now. So if you're using your front pattern piece to cut out the canvas, just draw a line on the canvas. You can just draw a line to cut out that to avoid all of that extra there. Okay. And then you can just cut your canvas out the shape of the front of your jacket and then cut on your line. That avoids the darts and the pocket area. Okay. That's why that canvas piece is curved. And the same for the back. We only need the shoulder, the neckline area needs to be stabilized, and the armhole needs to be stabilized. We don't need the whole back to be stabilized. We don't need this part done. Only, but, and I usually, this distance from here, from the end of the arm's eye to there, I do 3 inches. And then from my 3 inches, I go up and around and I just cut it out. Sometimes I'll go, if I have a winter coat, then coverage. I'll just go straight across. So if you go straight across, that's fine as well. But if you want to come up, bring it up a little higher. I know some of you all that are having your personal summers, you can go ahead and take some of that heat off of your back and then bring it up here. So the distance from center back at the neck to here, maybe it should be about 4 or 5 inches. Okay, about 4 or 5 inches, or whatever is comfortable to you. Okay, I'm just giving you some estimate numbers. Okay, so this is the back, and then this is the front canvas piece. Okay, you can use the seam allowance line as the cutting line. Yeah, when you do your back piece, cut that on the fold. So take away the seam allowance. Cut that on the fold. Okay, you should not have a seam. You should not have a center seam on your jacket stay or your interfacing that covers the back. So if you have a jacket with a center seam in the back, only the fabric, the fashion fabric, and the lining should have the center seam. Your jacket stay or interfacing piece that covers the top part of your back needs to be cut on the fold. It should not have a center seam. If we have a center seam, now we got 3 layers of center seam, and that's too much. We need it to be able to be nice and flat across the back. And we have our seam line here. That piece should go right over the seam line, nice and straight. Okay, should not be another seam. And then your lining seam, it's too much, it's going to add too much bulk. So for that inner piece or that jacket stay piece, you can go ahead and cut that on the fold. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that I covered that. So that's for you ladies that want to go ahead and move forward with that piece. Cut out your fashion fabric, cut out your lining, cut out your interfacing. Okay, in that order. Fashion fabric, lining, interfacing you can cut last. And then once you get that interfacing cut, which is your hair canvas, your interfacing, your interfacing meaning your wefts, interfacing. If you have wiggin, you can use wiggin on top of, like if you have your hem, then you can take wiggin and put it on top of the hem. The wiggin needs to be placed exactly where the fold is going to happen on your hemline. Okay, wiggin is a bias cut fabric that's used in your hems that adds an extra bunch of it just adds an extra stability to the hems. It withstands a lot of dry cleaning. It stops the fabric from creasing over time and wearing over time. So if you want to add wiggin to the hemline and the hems of your garment, and you feel like this is something you're going to be grabbing all the time, definitely add wiggin to your hem. And I got a coat real quick. I'm going to show you guys the coat where this coat has wiggin inside, so you'll know where it's placed. And then it has wiggin inside, so you know where it's placed, and then whether or not you want to use it. But if you're using the regular weft interfacing, that should be enough. If it's a jacket that you plan on wearing all the time, then yes, add some wiggin. If you don't have wiggin, cut your weft interfacing on the bias and then double face that area. So you adding your interfacing, right? Take that weft interfacing, cut by its strips, and add it. So let me grab this coat real quick.
While she's grabbing
And then
that,
we'll
I
go
can show you my backstay in my jacket, it's black, and I just used my pattern piece to create this.
Perfect. See how hers is cut open there? That's not a seam in that, is it?
No, it's probably just wrinkled.
Right. Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. I know they don't see. So you guys can see where she has hers. And then here's my. This is actually a jacket stay. You see how hold yours up again, Shamir. See how Shamir's is contoured on her back. Mine is just going straight across, but this is a coat, so this is just adding a little bit more warmth on the jacket stay piece, and it's just the back piece cut. And I went down 3 inches from the arm's eye, and I just did a cut straight across. So now you guys got to see 2 backstays in the jackets that are normally used. Now down here on the bottom, this coat, I just put some wiggin on the bottom. This has weft interfacing on it, but I put wiggin and extra right at the hemline because I plan on dry cleaning this coat, and in the winter time, it just adds an extra layer of stability. If you don't have wiggin, take your weft, cut it on the bias, and then add a couple of strips here down at the bottom on the hem. So it goes on the hemline and then on the hemline of the arms as well. Okay, just adds a little bit more shape to the hem part of the garment. All right, anybody got any questions so far? We're doing good. Now we can talk about pad stitching. Anybody out there just still terrified? Are y'all feeling comfortable? Okay, ain't nobody saying nothing. I don't want nobody to feel terrified. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. Shamir, that's adorable. We can see you. Yvette's terrified. Yvette, listen, let me ask you this. You ever yell or have to curse out your significant other? This is like much easier. Uh you said the terror is the canvas. Once you get that down and get that on, you can be like, I was scared of it because I was afraid of canvas too.
Is this the right stuff for what am I supposed to be doing? Sleeve.
It looks like undercollar. That looks like felt. Real felt.
It is fleece. You say you fleece.
Oh, you're talking about for the sleeve heads. The sleeve heads is fine. You can use fleece, or you can use they sell it at, well, Joanne ain't here no more. If you use regular fleece for sleeve heads, that's fine.
Do you still, when you do it, do you still put a piece of the canvas on your sleeve head, or you just do fleece?
No. Okay. Just fleece by itself. If you put canvas on your sleeve head, it's going to make them stiff, and it's going to show through. It'll just kind of be like, Some of those shapings, and you know how you be seeing them fancy sleeves, you can put a little bit of canvas on it. If you base the canvas on it, it'll make the sleeve stick out because it's soft. Canvas is soft, but it's still stiff. But yeah, for sleeve head, only the fleece by itself.
You have a measurement, a standard like dimension that you use?
For sleeve head, I usually use like 10 by like 10 inches by 5, and then I roll down 2 inches, and then there's 3 inches left. So 5 inches wide and like 10 inches long. There's dimensions in the book because I like a lot of sleeve head on the back,
Mhm.
but I like to make sure I have enough when I fold it in half. I need to make sure I have enough. All right, so now let me do this.
I usually Closet Core actually has a template, and I usually use their template for my sleeve head, but it's not a rectangle; it's a different shape.
Need my leg, and I need oh, my stomach is growling. So that means that we got to go somewhere and eat lunch.
You cut this on the bias,
What?
your sleeve head.
No. Mm-mm.
Too late. Yeah, I will. I'm yellow. Take a 2 inch.
Yvette, you've done some sewing though, right? You done some garment sewing? All right, I'm trying to thread my needle. I need some regular thread because I'm messing around with the wrong stuff. Okay, good. Two tops, pants. All right. So then you understand, and the reason why I asked is because I need to make sure that you understand construction basis or construction basics. So somebody who's never sewn anything before, definitely don't recommend this until after, at least maybe until after maybe a year of sewing. You just have to understand construction basics and know um, the order that things usually happen. And if you understand that, then you're good. It's just that, getting into it. All right, so I'm getting ready to do some stitching here. I'm going to, hopefully, did I go? Okay. Then once I get this done, then I can explain this to you guys. And my thread is like way too long. You get used to doing something, you get used to doing it, you need to do it. All right. And then my thread is too long. Usually, when you do pad stitching, you want your thread to be relatively short. Not super short, but not as long as you would normally do. Um, Not as long as you would do maybe like, let me cut some of this off because mine is like way too long. And the reason why you need it to be short is the shorter the thread, the faster you'll go once you get the rhythm. And then it stops it from getting caught on everything else. Because if your thread is too long, that's exactly what's going to happen. And that's what was happening to me. All right, I'm done, but
We got a question.
usually the term. In general, my thread for hand sewing is my arm length. So I would make the pad stitching elbow length. Yep, elbow length is good.
Bye,
It's got to
Dee.
be small. It's going to get stuck on everything.
Woven Nap says if they're using linen, do they need wigging?
Yeah, I would say you can use wigging. If it's going to be a jacket that you're going to be using a lot, you can do wigging. Yes, I'm not going to say no because I think it's a good. I think it's good. All right, so is longer. And I can show some different ones. Okay, now, and then kind of explain the turn because okay, now here's the thing about pad stitching. That didn't go through. All right, so I got a couple of like sample pads here. Okay, so now here's what happens. First of all, let me tell you the why for pad stitching. And we'll probably go till about maybe 2:15. Shouldn't take that long to do this. There's an area in your book about pad stitching. Pad stitching, what it does is it takes the collar and the lapel and it adds curve. Actually, if you kind of look at the fabric here, you can see where I did my little pad stitching. You can see the fabric is actually curved. It's not even straight anymore. See how this right here is straight? You can actually see kind of underneath this fabric. But the pad stitching causes the fabric to curve. So what happens is when you pad stitch your lapel, when you pad stitch the back of your collar, you're molding the collar and the lapel to do a natural curve on its own. So that's the purpose of pad stitching. So when you put your jacket on, the curve and the fall from the roll line, from it not being able to roll past this piece of fabric because the fabric is stopping it, it's in the same place every time, regardless of how you hang your jacket, where you hang your jacket, or how long you hang the jacket. That's what the pad stitching allows. It allows the collar to curve. It fits nicely around your neck. It adds shaping, and it adds that permanent roll on your neckline. Even after dry cleaning, all of that work, everything stays the same. Okay, now for pad stitching, you're going to be doing rows and rows and rows. Okay, when we pad stitch the back collar or it's the upper collar, when we pad stitch the upper collar, we're telling it to curve nicely around our neck and to come like this. So we're going to have areas inside of the collar where we're going to be pad stitching. When you do your pad stitching, you can do small ones. You're going to come down, come down, come down, and then you're going to go up. So that's how you stitch them. Like a zag. You come all the way down. When you come down, then you learn the turn. In the books, they will teach you how to go back up. And this is why they need to be small, because you have to do so many of them. You don't want to be going like this. And then when you do like that, the when you pull the thread, this part's going to get caught and you got to be untangling. And that's what I was doing. So you want your pad stitching thread to be a shorter length so you can get quite a few of them in. And then when it gets done, you can tie it, you can do that hook stitch that I showed you at the beginning of basting. You can lock it down, clip it, rethread, and then start a new one. Okay, so you want your pad stitching to be shorter. I've even seen the tailor's pad stitch with, pretty short, and then when they pull it, they're pulling it kind of tight. So when you pull your pad stitch, you want to make sure that it's a little tight. But when you start pulling it tighter, that's what's going to start it to curl. So what I've learned doing jackets like over the years is I was like, I don't want all of that tightness. I don't want a tight roll on my pad, but I want that structure there. I learned that if you make your pads farther apart and make them a little bigger, then that loosens up that area. When you make them smaller and tighter, you'll have a tighter roll. If you loosen it up a little bit, you'll have a looser, more relaxed roll. And I learned that when I did Casey's blazer for prom. I was like, this is kind of tight. I was noticing that the neck was a little tight and a little structured. And he was only 17 at the time. And I'm like, I don't want him taking his jacket off. So when I started making the pads bigger, I still had that curl, but it was a lot more relaxed. Okay. So I want you to practice small pad stitches and larger pad stitches, but practice with 2 layers of fabric. I only have a single layer here. Put 2 layers of fabric on there and watch when you pad. I want you to try to avoid the back fabric. If you grab the back fabric, it should only be a little bit. So when you're padding, keep them hands under there so you can feel your needle, and then pull it, pull it, pull it. If you come on the other side of the fabric, it should be okay, but we don't want to see all of this. Okay, we should see just little pieces of stitching, but you should be practicing. Remember, your mom taught you how to do that blind hem stitch. Try and pick up only a few threads, because when you're padding, we're going through the canvas and the fashion fabric. But if we can avoid going all the way through the fashion fabric, then avoid that. Okay. But if you happen to grab a little bit of the fashion fabric, your thread should match your fashion fabric and it should be visible. Now, it shouldn't be that visible. Now, because this is going to be your first time padding, or if you're doing pad stitching, if you do see the pad stitches on the fabric side, your goal is to eventually not see them. But if you do, you don't have to worry about it, because once you pad stitch your lapel, it's never going to flip up unless you flip it up. It's never going to flip up because this pad stitching adds that much stability and that much control on the actual lapel themselves. So you, like when I did KC's, I tried a couple of different things. I tried in the tailoring book, they have where you can zigzag pad, but you can definitely see that. And when I saw that, I was like, I'm not doing that. That's a fast tailoring. So I just went on ahead and I did his by hand. But I did do the tight pad stitching on the neck, on the collar, but then on the lapels, I started to loosen them up. Okay, so practice pad stitching. What stitching is a diagonal basting. Now you can see on the other side, we have straight lines going down and then coming back up. We have straight lines, but here we have diagonal stitches. All right, so let me demo how this works. And then what happens is when you get them spaced across, in when we start getting ready to do them, there's going to be an area where we're going to be pad stitching. And so we're going to go down, and then they're going to be going like this. Then when we go up, they're going to be going the opposite way. So as we travel up and down in our area where we're going to be padding, then your stitches are going to change direction. Okay. So there's only a small area wherein the pad needs to be done, but you need to pad stitch this whole area. So if you get one small area left over like this, then you're just going to make small pad stitches to fit. And you just adjust the width that you stab the fabric. So you can see here, these are larger. So these are longer. They're spaced out, but then I got some small ones here. It just, when you doing your sewing, when you need something big, and when I need to make that stitch a little smaller, so you grab less fabric. Same thing with pad stitching. Now with diagonal basting, you go in through the bottom, and literally you take your thread, your next stab. I'm gonna hold this. Your next stab is going to be below the thread, and you're going to come in straight below. This is what causes that straight stitch in the back. But because we're starting our stitch, it causes the first one to be, we're starting our stitch directly under and we're going straight across. It starts our stitch on an angle. So now I got my needle stitched. It's poking out right below where this one is. And so I'm pulling it. That's where I started it. And there's my second one. And then here's my thread ready to go down to the next level. And I'm starting my stitch at the same place where that one ends. See that? My needle is right where that other one above it ends. Then I'm going straight across with my needle. Straight across with my needle. And I'm pulling it through. Now I have 3. And then I continue that process all the way down. And then in the turn tells you, and I don't, listen, forgetting how to do the turn, I was cheating on the turn. So what happens is when you turn, and you go through and pull it through, you can see the straight stitches on the back. See those straight stitches on the back? That's because I was bringing my needle through, straight through. Straight stitches on the back, diagonal stitches on the front. So if you look up in your book, diagonal basting, that's all pad stitching is diagonal basting. And then how short or how close together will determine how much curve you're putting into your garment. Another, when you start pad stitching, you can put your finger underneath. When you put your finger underneath there and you start stitching on top of your finger, if you pull it real tight, it'll actually start to curve with your finger. You can actually see that now. See the curve there? That's what pad stitching is done for. It's for shaping and adding curve to these bias cut pieces. It's kind of training the bias to curve and to shape the way that you need it to do, and the way that you need it. And once these stitches are in there and they're permanent, then it stays that way. Okay. And you'll start to see it when you start doing padding. Put your finger under there. It's a little easier. And you put your finger under there to feel the poke through. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm poking my finger. I'm grabbing too many threads. That's what your finger is there for. And it's also there to shape. Okay. So yeah, put your finger under there in the pad. When you're doing your padding, just put your hand under there so you can feel the fabric. But when we do the collar, we're going to be like, if this is the collar, we're going to be padding this way. So we'll be able to put our fingers under there and start padding with our hand under there and pull it and pull it and pull it and pull it. And what I mean by pull is once you go through and you do that one solid stitch here, and fingers under there, get that under here. Then you're going to pull and then pad and pull and pull. And if it's too much, make them bigger. When you make them bigger, you're just adding distance in the space. See how I added distance there? And I made them longer. And I usually like them a little bit bigger once I get a little farther out. When you're farther out on the lapel, you can make them bigger. But when you start getting into this part right here, where it crosses over, when you get on the inside of the lapel, they're smaller. And if you look at some of the pictures here in these books, you can actually see that. The pad stitching is larger on the outside. Now in this one, their pad stitching is a little smaller. It's a little smaller on the pad because they're using a tweed, which is kind of an open weave. But you can make the pads much bigger. and you can see the sample of the padding. And all it is a whole bunch of stitches all in one area. Okay, so you don't have to make them super tiny, you don't have to make them big. Work on what's comfortable for you. The main thing is that they all fit in the space, and they're going to all fit in the space because that's where you're going to be sewing in that area. And then once your padding is there, you'll notice that your collar is going to curl. It's not going to stop you from constructing the jacket, but it just the shape is going to be much nicer. And then when we start pressing and steaming, uh, it's just going to come out really nice. Okay. So practice the pad stitching though. You definitely have to practice that one. You have to practice the pad stitching in order to understand the difference between the sizes and how the fabric is going to curl. You can actually see how it's curling, how it's going to curl, and how you're going to be shaping. When we do curls around the neck, if this looks like a collar piece, you can see how at the base of the neck, the pad stitching is going to be small and it's going to be tight because we definitely need to curl out here from where our collar flips down here, which is not the stand but the fall of the collar. We're going to be telling it how we need it to curve here and fit around our necks. It just kind of shapes and molds the bias cut, which is your collar, and then your lapel is on an angle, so that's bias as well. So we're just shaping with the pad stitches. Okay, so practice pad stitching on 2 layers of fabric. Get that finger up under there and make sure you're not poking the hell out of your finger, because when your finger is under there, that kind of helps you grab fabrics a little bit better. You're able to guide it. And then if you're going too far, you're going to poke yourself. So after a few pokes, you'll be real you'll be real good with avoiding the finger, but you'll be able to catch the fabric and the canvas at the same time, and then you're not going to have that show through. You are going to have some though. If you do have some, that's okay. Like I said, your lapel and your collar is always going to be folded down anyway. So if you do have some, that's okay. But I want you to practice large ones and small ones, pulling nice and tight, to make sure it's tight. And then read the chapter first on pad stitching. I need you to read that first because they tell you how to reverse the stitch. That after you get done with one line of pad stitching, you start at the bottom and you go up, and then they're opposites. And you'll be diagonal basting and you'll be going up. And it'll be just as easy it was going down. Then you're going to do that switch, and then you're going to come down. So you'll have 2 lines of V's, and then you'll have 2 more lines of V's. After you come down, you're going to complete the V, then you're going to start the new V, and then you're going to complete the V and start the V. And it's going to be in this whole area of the lapel, this whole area, the top area of the neck, and then they get bigger as you go down. And you're only going to go so far. And we'll go over that once we get to um, the actual pad stitching on your jacket. So I need to get my AZZ in gear with my jacket and get started so I can use my jacket as an example. And then Shamir can start using her jackets as an example. Because we've been making all kind of stuff. We've been making, I know I ain't been making my blazer. I admit it. I admit it. But now that I know I need this black blazer and it's cold outside, I'm ready to move forward. My big procrastination is moving this table and getting my fabric out. Um, so practice the pad stitching, read the chapter so you can know how to switch and reverse the stitch and come up, reverse the stitch, and come down. That's the main thing you need to learn how to do. Check the opposite side of your stitching and make sure that you're doing your rows here, like you see here, and then make sure you have um, your diagonals here when you're doing your pad stitching. Okay. Anybody got any questions about the padding? Practice your catch stitch, practice your pad stitching, and practice your skip basting. Although you have skip basting looks easy, we want to make sure that it's nice and even.
Sab is telling on you.
She's telling on me, right? Sam, you ain't supposed to be telling that part. She said you're planning your next project too.
Right.
All
Had
right.
nothing to do with any of those jackets you got over there.
All right. So we got to do our next one will be a Zoom. And then the Zoom is going to be, the Zooms are more nitty gritties and Q&As. And let's see your, progress. Um, how you doing? If you want to put some samples on the Discord of your pad stitching, hey, this is what I've done. Everybody look at, you do a little bit of bragging and say, hey, look what I've learned and this is what I've done. Put some samples out there so everybody can see what's happening. And then also it's motivating, it's good inspo and motivation for everybody to move forward. Um, we can do another live before Thanksgiving, but I have some time off coming up after Thanksgiving. So I don't know what's good for you, Shamir. I'm cooking dinner for Thanksgiving, so
I'm
um,
definitely not cooking dinner.
and we're having company, so that's a nice little thing. So I'm actually having um, my husband's friends coming over. He lives by himself, so we're asking him to come over for dinner. But I cook dinner. I love making Thanksgiving dinner. I love cooking for Christmas. And during the rest of the year, we do Chipotle. We do we go to the store. Keith cooks though, but I love doing Thanksgiving. So I'm doing Thanksgiving dinner this year. And then last year with my mom passing, Thanksgiving and Christmas really didn't happen for none of us. So we're looking forward to this year and getting back in the swing.
Yeah.
How much time you have to stall? You no, no. There she go. There she go.
Risha just can't get
It's
right.
always Risha. No, no, Risha, you don't get a pass. You don't get a pass.
So I
One
guess do you want to do another live or do you want to do a Zoom next?
let's do. What do you guys want to do? Let's do another live because with the holidays, I don't think anybody's going to be ready to dive forward into this.
Yeah.
I think everybody's going to be moving kind of snail pace until until the Thanksgiving holiday, but definitely after Thanksgiving we can get that Zoom done
Okay.
because I'll be gone the first after the 9th of December, uh, like to the 9th to the 12th.
Mhm.
Well, let's get the Zoom in before then.
The night
Yeah,
of
and that's another thing people will need to practice.
live. Okay. Cool beans. Well, I think
So
we'll be
we'll do the Zoom in the beginning of December, and then we'll try and get in another live right after the holiday.
right after Thanksgiving.
I think right after the holiday, so it gives everybody a chance to practice. If I see like a lot of people doing good on these hand stitches, then maybe we can do something before Thanksgiving because we can do another Zoom before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Get those interfacing pieces cut out. That's important. Make sure you get your interfacing pieces cut out. So that means let's get that jacket cut. Let's finalize these muslins. And if you have a question about muslin, here's what I was thinking about. I had an aha moment this morning when I got in the shower. When you come to the muslin phase and you go out to Discord and you ask me and Shamir, what do you think? Here's my advice to you. We're not able to go shopping with you. And when you go shopping and you try on a blazer, what do you think? Does it fit you? Is it too small? Is it too big? Does it not look right? Keep that in mind. Okay, when you're doing your muslin, act like you're out shopping. And when you put it on, if you don't like the way it fits, Guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to buy it. So this is how you determine how much more of this do I need. This don't fit the way I don't like the shoulders. I don't like the way it's fitting on my hips. If you don't like the way something fits, then that means that you need to alter it in that area. Does that make sense? Yeah. When you treat it like you're buying a jacket at the store, when you put it on, if it does not fit the way, if you're not going to buy that muslin right off the rack, then you need to go back and you need to add some more work to it. Because I've noticed that a lot of people that have gotten our opinions on the first muslin, when they come back with the second muslin, they already know what to do. They just want to show, I like the way this fits. I like the arms, but it looks like I need to add a little bit more in the hips. So you're understanding now. Uh, the muslin needs to look like something that you're going to buy off the rack. If it does not fit you, like you would go to the store and buy it, then you need to go back and you need to adjust it accordingly to how you want it to fit your body. That's the main thing. So practice those stitches, basting stitch, catch stitch, and diagonal basting and pad stitching. Okay, practice, practice, practice.
I might come live sometime next week and do my tailor tax. We'll see.
Hey, Julia, practice, practice, practice.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways, we'll chat. For now, practice your stitches, finalize your muslins, begin to cut out your vinyl or your fashion fabric, read your books, figure out what your canvas shapes should be looking like.
Mm-hmm.
Do those things like you can go ahead and create your, what do you call it, your backstay or whatever. You can go ahead
Yeah.
and cut that out.
And let me apologize, Diane and Sabs. They had me up on live last night, and I was trying to get off. But they the reason why they the reason why I stayed on live late last night. And RVBs, they wouldn't let me get off for some reason. I don't know. So yeah, just blame them for me being late and everything. So all
Yeah.
right, I just had to say that.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I will do a bulletin by Tuesday for us moving forward, and I'll get us some dates for our next live in Zoom going forward. But thank you again for your demonstrations, and we'll chat later.
Bye, you guys.